Ever heard that phrase, merchant of death?
Oh, yeah.
Pretty rough, right?
Yeah.
Imagine that being how you're remembered. Like, that's your legacy.
Oh, yeah.
How would you even try to change that story?
That's a tough one.
That's the challenge Alfred Nobel faced.
The Nobel Prizes guy.
Exactly. He was brilliant, but complicated.
Definitely.
And we are going to unpack his story today.
Buckle up.
It's a wild ride. Inventions, moral struggles, a mistaken obituary.
A mistaken what?
An obituary published too early, like while he was still alive.
Wow.
Might have changed history. Who knows?
It's one of those stories that makes you think.
Makes you think, what?
How much can one person really change their legacy?
Right.
Like shift the course of history even.
For themselves and for everybody else?
Yeah. Humanity as a whole.
We're using a podcast transcript.
Okay.
All about Nobel and the prizes to guide us.
Nice. Like a cheat sheet.
Cheat sheet to a fascinating life.
I like it.
So starting point, young Alfred, born in Stockholm. But the family moves to Russia when he's 9 years old.
Interesting.
His dad was this engineer inventor,
Uh-huh.
super into military tech, which rubbed off on Alfred.
Oh, absolutely. That early exposure.
Right. But alongside that cutting edge stuff,
And let's be honest, it's kind of destructive stuff.
yeah, there's this incredible well-rounded education he gets, too.
Like what kind of stuff?
Science, languages, literature.
Wow. The whole package.
All the ingredients were there for him to make breakthroughs.
Right. But
no-
it also kind of sets the stage for that conflict we talked about
That push and pull
but-
between building things up and...
and their potential to tear things down.
Okay, wait a sec. 355 patents.
Whoa.
This guy was a machine.
Seriously.
Dynamite is the big one, obviously.
Of course.
Revolutionized industries.
Construction mining.
Exactly. But also warfare.
Yeah. You can't forget that part.
That's got to weigh on you, right?
For sure.
Building something that can destroy on that scale.
It's that duality that I find so interesting.
That light and shadow.
Yeah. And it's so relevant to us today.
How so?
Every time tech takes a leap forward, there's that light and shadow.
Give me an example.
Like AI gene editing.
Okay.
The possibilities are mind-blowing.
For sure.
But they come with these huge ethical dilemmas.
Right.
Nobel was wrestling with this stuff way back then.
In the 1800s.
Yeah.
And then there's this story, a premature obituary.
Wait, what?
A newspaper accidentally publishes his obit,
While he's still alive?
branding him the merchant of death,
Oh, wow.
highlighting all the destruction his inventions caused.
Talk about a wake-up call.
Can you imagine reading about yourself like that?
Right, seeing your whole legacy boil down to profiting from death?
While you're still here.
It's no surprise that this had a huge impact on him.
Like being forced to confront your impact on the world.
Yeah, majorly.
And I think this leads to the turning point,
The Nobel Prizes,
written into his will.
to recognize those who benefit humanity.
The greatest benefit to humankind. It was like he was actively trying to change his story.
Try to highlight the positive.
Exactly, focusing on uplifting achievements.
He didn't just throw money at the idea either.
No, the scope was huge.
What were the categories?
Physics, chemistry, medicine, literature, and peace.
5 big ones.
5 initial categories later on, economics got added.
Oh, right.
But there's this one detail: the Peace Prize is awarded in Norway.
Huh. Not Sweden.
Always makes you wonder why.
Some Scandinavian rivalry, maybe?
Right, like some sibling rivalry thing.
But jokes aside, when you think about how they choose the winners,
the selection process?
yeah, it's intense.
Not just handed out.
Years of work.
Decades even.
Dedicated work.
That's what gives the prize so much weight.
More than just the money.
It's about global recognition validation.
Inspiring others.
But even with this super rigorous system...
You're going to have controversy.
Right, because there's always debate with subjective stuff like this.
Exactly. Take the 1973 Peace Prize, awarded to Henry Kissinger. Yeah. His role in the Vietnam War ceasefire was...
complicated.
say the least.
Yeah, the Vietnam War was still going on.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people were not happy about that.
Critics said it was premature.
That true peace hadn't really been achieved.
Makes you think about what peace really means.
Right. How do you even measure it?
Like, is it about intentions or tangible results?
Good question.
And can you separate a person's efforts?
From the bigger political picture.
Right, exactly.
And then there are those who refuse the prize.
Refused.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
That's wild considering how prestigious it is.
It really is.
Jean-Paul Sartre turning down the Literature Prize in '64.
What was his reasoning?
He believed that any institution,
Even the Nobel Committee.
could be used for political purposes.
Interesting.
He didn't want to be a pawn.
A pawn in their game.
So it's not just about the award itself.
It's about the implications of accepting it.
That your voice could be misused.
Exactly, and Leduc too rejecting the Peace Prize.
A few years later, he felt that true peace hadn't been achieved in Vietnam.
Powerful statement.
It makes you think about the weight of that decision.
They weren't made lightly.
No, they were based on deep beliefs.
Taking a stand.
It's a reminder that these prizes exist
Within a complex web.
of politics, ideology, personal convictions.
They're not just about recognizing achievement.
In a vacuum, no.
So let's talk about this interesting fact.
Okay.
The U.S. dominates the Nobel Prize scene.
Dominates.
Over 400 laureates.
Seriously?
It's staggering.
Why do you think that is?
Well, the U.S. puts a lot of money into research and development.
Resources are definitely a factor.
But it's more than that, right?
There's a cultural element, too.
Like what?
An emphasis on innovation, pushing boundaries.
That American spirit.
And the U.S. attracts talent from all over the world.
A melting pot of ideas.
Exact.
But it makes you wonder if there's bias in the system.
Bias, how so?
Like, are some types of achievements prioritized?
Over others.
Are we missing brilliance in other parts of the world?
Because of how the system is set up.
It's something to think about.
Important questions, for sure.
The goal is to celebrate the greatest contributions to humanity.
That's the whole point.
So we need to make sure we're looking everywhere.
For those contributions.
Okay, so back to Alfred Nobel.
Yeah.
His quest to reshape his legacy.
Right.
Did he succeed?
Did he shift the narrative away from the merchant of death?
It's tough to say for sure.
His name will always be linked to dynamite.
And its destructive power.
But the Nobel Prizes have become a symbol of hope.
Progress, human ingenuity.
Inspiring people to strive for excellence.
To use their talents to make the world better.
It's like he created a counter-narrative.
A force for good.
That stands in contrast to the darker side of his inventions.
And that tension, that duality.
It's still playing out today.
In so many ways.
Nobel's story shows us that even with a controversial past,
you can leave a legacy of positive change.
It highlights the struggle to balance the benefits and harms
of our creations.
A challenge we all face.
How do we use our knowledge responsibly?
How do we make sure our innovations serve humanity?
Without harming it. Makes you think about the responsibility we all have.
Especially with all this innovation happening.
Right. It's not just about what we create.
But how we do it and why.
Exactly. And that's a powerful takeaway for everyone listening.
It really is.
Whether you're a scientist, an artist,
an entrepreneur, anyone, really.
We all have a role to play in shaping the future.
No matter how big or small.
We're all leaving a legacy in some way.
That's true.
And Nobel's story shows us it's never too late to change course.
To steer that legacy toward something positive.
To benefit humanity.
To ask ourselves the tough questions.
Like, what impact are we having?
Are we contributing to something good?
Something that makes the world a better place.
These are the questions we got to be asking.
And that leads us to our final thought-provoking question.
I like these.
If you could add a new Nobel Prize category for the 21st century.
Ooh, for the 21st century.
What would it be?
What field or endeavor deserves that global recognition?
The encouragement that comes with it.
It's a fascinating thing to consider.
What are the biggest challenges we face today?
And what achievements could help us overcome them?
Are we talking about breakthroughs in sustainability?
Combating climate change.
Bridging the gap between technology and ethics.
Maybe it's about fostering empathy and understanding.
In a world that feels increasingly divided.
Or recognizing those fighting poverty.
Ensuring access to clean water and education.
The possibilities are endless.
And that's what makes it so thought-provoking.
It forces us to think critically about our values.
The values we prioritize as a society.
The kind of future we want to create.
So listeners, we want to hear your thoughts.
What new category would you add?
And why?
It's a conversation worth having.
It's been fascinating diving into Alfred Nobel's world.
A complex figure for sure.
His legacy continues to spark debate.
To inspire innovation.
And to challenge us to think deeply about our own roles.
Shaping the future.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning.
And keep striving to make a positive impact.
In the world!